Blessings and greetings, greetings and blessings, blessed souls. Because we are blessed by the Most High to be alive, we're staying alive. In Torah Chaim, instructions of life, Torah Chesed, instructions of kindness, Torah Rachmim, instructions of mercies. This is hopefully the beginning of a new series in response to recently a big media event, for whatever reasons it came out, with all of its inner and outer superficial implications. When youth man Matisyahu publicly declared that he thought that it was ludicrous, the idea that there would be a lack of love on the part of the Most High if he shaved his beard, when according to Kabbalistic teachings, in fact, it is taught quite openly that the growing of the beard is an expression down here replicating at some level, on the supernal level, Lamaila, of the attributes of mercy. So there's a beautiful book which should put to rest, and it's translated into English, called The Beard in Jewish Law, Halachic Imperative or Kabbalistic Stringency. And this is based on a translation of a response of the Munkacher Rebbe. He himself, a big tzaddik who lived into the, unfortunately, the beginning of the Nazi regime, Yavach Shmam, who used to delight and scorn us with all of their Amalek-like hatred of us when they would cut our beards and force us to cut our beards. So, response number one I have just coming from the Kishkas, as we say, is that I don't want to touch my beard because I'd rather anger an Amalekite. That I'm giving testimony to the fact that my beard, from a perspective of Torah instruction, halacha, and Kabbalah, is giving some sort of reflection on a very microcosmic scale of the mercies of the Most High. And again, I have no ill intent towards Yutman Matisyahu, but rather that in his schus, in his merit, that this matter can be approached in an adult, mature, and Torah informative manner. So people will get a better understanding of why a Jew wears a beard, and it's not weird at all according to Torah. So, being that there are matters of copyright infringement, I'd rather kind of like share with you insights via asking questions. And therefore, you'll have to purchase this book. I bought it for about $18.95, and whether you're one of the children of Israel or one of the blessed Noahide nations, it's certainly permissible to learn this because a Jew should know what his requirements are according to Torah, and a Noahide can learn it as according to Rav Moshe Winner in his seminal work, Divine Code, which is the Shulchan Aruch, the code of Torah law for the nations of the world, that if a Noahide wants to understand what are the virtues of the nation of Israel by virtue of the Torah that were commanded and are instructed on and are trying to fulfill each one according to its blessings, then they can get a better understanding of us. Because this process of universal redemption, blessed souls, is that we're going to have to more and more connect with our psychic, cognitive abilities so we can give birth to healthy emotions. So that being said, there's in the forward, and by the way, this was translated by one of the most foremost translators of Aramaic, Hebrew, and Yiddish in our generation, Rav Eliyahu Tauger, who I believe translated all of the Mishnah Torah by Rambam, which is another work I openly, humbly suggest you blessed soul to look into the teachings of Rambam. But here we're talking about the beard. So there's a verse in Leviticus 20:26. And it's an instruction that the Most High gave to the mighty prophet Moshe, the Levi prophet, to tell to Israel. So your homework is something that says, look up that verse in Leviticus 20:26. And pulling out from the Midrash Rabbah that there is a distinction that is connected to the nation of Israel as it relates to the face. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go to the Bamidbar Rabbah, chapter 10, 1, and also look up Leviticus 19:27. Now the Chafetz Chaim, who wrote a seminal work called Netzar Lashoncha, Guard Your Tongue, the Torah laws of evil speech and how to sanctify one's faculty of speech. One sanctifies one's speech, one sanctifying the area where the speech is emanating, namely from the mouth, the teeth, the tongue, palate, throat, and ultimately the words of the heart that enter another heart. So the Chafetz Chaim talked about the beard being a litmus test for determining a person's relationship in relation to what, blessed souls? Well, you have to go to the forward on Roman numeral 5 to find out what the Chafetz Chaim had to say about that. As well, the Chazon Ish, a very formidable Lithuanian-styled scholar who lived in Bnei Brak the last years of his life. I believe he came from Europe. If he lived his whole life in Israel, I apologize. I'm not exactly sure of his whole life story, but I know he was a great scholar. In fact, his works on the laws of what Torah laws Israelites are supposed to keep now in our days, he passed on, I think, around 1950, Tafshin Yud. So he described the idea of cutting the beard with scissors as something that is spread even among Torah scholars, and this affected him in a certain way. And to that, you'd have to see the Chazon Ish Igros, volume 1, letter number 195. So, as well, as we conclude here, based on a response by Rav Chaim Kanifsky, who wrote an Orchos Yosher, who was the son of the Stipler Gaon, Schusi Yogan Aleinu, a great tzaddik in his own right, who lived in Eretz Israel, that there is a splendor of countenance which refers to the certain portion of the human body. And not only that, Rav Kanievsky wrote that it was considered to be what? This is my question. There's another homework assignment question you'll have to research, blessed souls. What was it considered about someone throughout the history of our nation when someone did not possess a beard? Well, blessed souls, this is about as probably as fire and brimstone as I get, and I don't think I was fire and brimstone. I think I was more like a match that hasn't been lit and a little pebble. So in any way, we're going to conclude now with a Havachad, one love, Goyal Echad, one destiny, Kulano Badarch Shalom, and may these teachings, how in this new series, hopefully, a Jewish beard is not weird, should be in the merit of strengthening Matas Yao, all of our fellow Jews, including myself, and as well for the blessed children of Noah. Amshich, to be continued, but Birchas Hashem in with the blessings of the Most High.